me, Coach Carmen, the Kingdom Health, Purpose, and Wealth Coach and founder of SharingTheBliss.com. Happy Friday to you. I'm here tonight because I wanted to come in to talk to you. I wanted to share my heart with you tonight because it's a special night. Um, I'm actually, I'm going to say celebrating. I'm celebrating the 46th anniversary of my mother's passing. So I hadn't seen my mother in 46 years. I was 13 years old when my mother passed away. And most people who know me know that my mom passed away when I was really young, but never really expressed the details of, the story of my mom and why she passed so early. She was actually 41 when she passed away. And so I just wanted to share a love story with you and talk to those of you who are motherless daughters. So this is my motherless daughter story. So I was blessed to have a mom up until I was 13 years old, and parents, and two sisters, and a brother. So I was the third of four children and the youngest girl. I had two older sisters and a younger brother. And so my parents were so much fun, and my mom was a lot of fun. She was beautiful inside and out. And I'm not just saying that because she's my mom and she's no longer with me, but anybody that knew her would tell you that my mother was the most loving and beautiful person most people would say that they've ever met. And that's just how she was. She's just a beautiful inside and out. My mom's name was, is Deborah Vera Hudson Stevens. So she, I think that, I really think that if she knew what I knew now, she probably would have been still been alive. I would say that. I would say that she would have been alive still today. And that's a little tricky for me to say because she actually, I never knew that she had any issues with her heart, but she passed away at work. She had heart failure when she was working at a bank, Bankers Trust in the city in Manhattan, 34th Street. And her heart stopped at work and she passed away. And the interesting thing was, it was actually October 5th and it was a Friday. So, as far as I knew, there was nothing wrong with my mom. I never knew her to really have any issues, at least nothing that serious. I know I was born with a heart condition, and my sister Darlene had a heart murmur too. And I know my mom used to take me to take me to the hospital, to the clinic, like I think it's like every 6 months they would check my heart and to make sure that everything was okay. And I enjoyed that time because I was able to spend a whole day with just me and my mom, and we would take the bus to Brooklyn Hospital, and they would, you know, do their thing, the doctors, and we would go have something to eat, and we would go home together. So she had to take that day off, and I had to take that day off from school. So I always cherished that time with her. And I also really enjoyed when she used to take me shopping for school clothes. On 34th Street, and I would meet her, and there was a chock full of nuts there. We would have like hamburger. I was eating hamburgers back then, and soda, and that was really special too. But my mom was a lot of fun, and I was just so grateful that she raised me. My parents were Christians, and my mom raised us in the church. and I'm so grateful for that. She made sure that we were involved. We were I was in the young people's choir, and my sisters were in the young adults choir. And that was really important for me. That laid a wonderful foundation. Those of you who are, younger and you have children, I'll tell you, get your children into church. You don't know how much time you have on this earth. It is so important that you raise your children to have a foundation, to have a spiritual foundation. Because I'm telling you, if it wasn't for that spiritual foundation, I don't know what I would have done when my mom died at 13 years old. I really don't. And, as I got older, I was, I was out there. But it was what I knew and what I was taught and what was in my deep in my heart that pulled me back in. So I would not go but so far out there. But, there was a time when I was in college that I went to FIT, and, it was in the 80s. So it was kind of wild. And I did some wild stuff back then. But, thank God I had that foundation. And I'm so grateful for that. But my mother insisted that I went to the High School of Music and Art. And that was interesting because, like I said, I was 13 when she passed. I had just started high school. I started high school in September, and she passed away that October. And she was very serious about me going to music and art. And she was not that type of person to like push her decisions, what she thought we should do on us. But she was serious about this with me, and I'll tell you why it was so amazing in a minute. But I wanted to go to art and design. I passed both the tests, art and design and music and art. And my mother was really proud of me because my cousin went to music and art, and my aunt was always bragging about my cousin going to music and art. So she wanted me to go to music and art. So anyway, I went to music and art. That first day of school, my mom took me to school. It was all the way at 137th Street in Harlem. And my sister was going to City College. So City College and the original music and art was on City College's campus. It was a castle on City College's campus. But my mom took me to school that day, and there was this long, I mean, anybody that went to music and art back then know that steep hill all the way up to Convent Avenue. You had to walk up these stairs. There were like 1,000 steps at least. Gave me nice legs, I have to tell you. But she walked all the way up the stairs with me after we got off the subway. And I didn't want her to come into the school because I was, I didn't want to have the other kids see me having my mother bring me to school. So when we just about got up to the top of the stairs, I, I told her, that was okay, that I can go the rest of the way. And I didn't want her to go up the stairs with me to music and art to my high school on the first day. And for years, I regretted that. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, why did I do that? Why did I insist that my mother not go to the school? I mean, that would have been her opportunity to really see the school. She never had an opportunity to see my school after that because, like I said, that next month, she passed away. That next month, she was gone. So she never went to music and art. She never got to see the school that she so longed for me to go to. And the beautiful thing was I met the love of my life, my soulmate at music and art. My husband, Anthony Abercrombie, we met at the High School of Music and Art. And had my mother not insisted that I went to the High School of Music and Art, I would not have met my husband. So that was amazing. That was totally amazing. And and I just thank her for that. Uh, uh, so my mom, my mom passed in 73, and my father passed in 83. So he was pretty young too. He was in his early 50s when he passed away. So if I could talk to my mom now, if I could see her now, I used to have so many dreams about her. I used to dream all the time about my mother, and I would always dream that was, that she came back. I always dreamt that she came back. And there was always some kind of thing I had to do. You know, I had to go through something in order to see her. Like I would have to, there was like just some time that went on where I had to go to someone's house, and then they would have to drive me here. It was always some kind of distance, something that kept me away from her. And when I saw her, when I would see her in my dreams, it was always like, I can't even explain to you. Um, it was awesome. It was always so awesome. But as the years went by, because for years and years and years, I would grieve for my mother. I mean, I would grieve on her birthday, and I would grieve on October 5th. I mean, I would grieve, and I would just like cry for hours and hours and hours. And finally, one day, one year, I think it was about 1995, maybe it was 1995, I decided that I was not going to do that anymore. First of all, it was draining my energy. Every year, I was like sucking the energy out of myself, just like with all this grief. And I think it was at a time when I had been studying under Kenny Copeland and Joyce Meyer. There were the two ministries that I really got a great foundational teaching about faith from. And I think it was then that I realized that, you know, I didn't have to grieve for her like that anymore. Like maybe it was because I had some time and distance. They say time heals all wounds. So I think that time helped me. But I also believe that I became more mature as a believer. And and God, it was a process, but God healed me. He healed my soul. He healed my grief. He healed the longing that I have for my mother. It's not that I didn't have that longing anymore, but that ache, that like raw ache that I had in my heart for my mother just was healed. And I understood that I didn't, I don't know, it's like just God just gave me grace. And he gave me grace. When she passed away, I had grace. I had the grace of God, like I said, that was from all the years of being in church, and having that connection. Even though I didn't learn a lot about faith, unfortunately, in the church, the Baptist church that I went to, but I was a member at, back then, my family was members at. But I do know that I developed a personal relationship with Jesus at that time. So that is what gave me the grace to endure the pain. But every October 5th, oh my goodness, I was going through it. And I'm so grateful that I don't have that pain anymore, because, you know, like I said, 10 years later, my dad passed away. And, as it turned out, both my sisters are no longer with me, and my brother is no longer with me. So I'm the sole survivor of my family of six now. And, you know, my sisters passed away super early. They were way too young. And my brother he was only 38. So, at least I know that they're together in heaven, which is great. But, this is this part of my life is what fuels me. It is what empowers me. It is what allows me to do what I'm doing. It really is. And it is the total example of what I call mess to mission. My mess is totally my mission. My pain is definitely my power. And it allows me to be able to help others and have that sensitivity because I know what it is to lose someone. I know what it is to be very, very sick because I was very, very sick. I know what it is to fight for your life. I know what it is to sustain from foods that you were brought up eating and having to reprogram your taste buds and clean out your body. I know how it is. I've experienced it, and that's why I can share. I can share my heart with you because I've been there. And sometimes I wonder, like, why? Why did my mom have to pass away at 41? Like, why did that happen? She was, like I said, the most beautiful person. I'll show you a picture of her. She, like I said, beautiful inside and out. I don't know if you could see that. And what's interesting? Well, let me just go back to why. The why. Hmm. The why is also part of my fuel. The why is also one of the reasons why I've studied the Word of God so much. Hey, Reverend Maggie, thank you for sharing. Oh, you're so thank you, Reverend Maggie. Thank you. It's it's one of the reasons why I study the Word and why I do what I do because I know that God is not a God of death. The devil comes and kills, steal, and destroy. It's the enemy that takes life. And if that happened to someone as beautiful as my mom and like my dad and my sisters and my brother, like why? And so I did a lot of studying as to know why. And that's one of the reasons why I created the programs that I have because I believe that we can close the breaches on premature death. We can close the breaches. We don't have to allow the enemy to come, steal, kill, and destroy. Now, I had a challenge with that, like I said, with my mom because it wasn't my father. Uh, he had cancer. He had stomach cancer, and my father smoked. And even though my father was the lead singer of the original Guiding Lights of Brooklyn, New York, he he had some bloodline curses, and he smoked, and he actually did some drinking. He actually really started drinking more with his friends when my mother passed away. And that did not help the situation because he had women that wanted to make all this food for him, the same unhealthy food, southern food, and he would eat all of that. And he had a sensitive stomach. I was born with a sensitive stomach like my father and a heart condition like my mother. But, you know, I knew when I got sick, I had to do something about it. They didn't know what I know. And that's why it is so important for me to share what I know with the people I was called to serve because if you don't know,